in that chair, I feel like I realized I might not be where I want to be just yet, but I'm a lot closer to where I want to be right now than where I was last year. So being grateful for where I am presently and understanding that there is also beauty in the journey. There's also beauty in the journey, guys. Like, what the fuck? Gratitude can find you anywhere, okay? You just gotta allow it to come in. And maybe that's why I got my period. Maybe, like, I just needed to be grateful for life so that the world could remind me that I'm not pregnant. Like, what is up, party people? Welcome back to the YAP Eat Repeat podcast. My name is Adele. I am a social media girly who loves makeup, and this is the YAP Eat Repeat podcast, a place where intellectual baddies can come together and have a gay old time. Guys, it's no longer freezing in New York, so I guess life is really worth living right now. Like, whew, okay. Aside, okay. Aside from all of that, life is worth living, guys. Whew. Okay. As you can see, still recovering from bronchitis, very slowly but surely, but feeling a lot better physically. Okay, I'm back. So I really wanted to get into a couple of things. Top of mind is the weather. Oh my god. Okay, so if you have lived in New York for the past few weeks, you know how insane and how disrespectful this cold has been. Truly, like, I did not think it was going to get that cold up until like the groundhog. He really thought he ate. He really thought he ate down with that, but there's still crumbs left on your plate, bitch. Like, the groundhog has yet to deliver on his promise with a blizzard, and now it's too late. Now we're already in like fucking fake spring. Okay, like, he didn't hit no type of snow whatsoever, just straight up cold wind, frostbite. Like, it was way too fucking cold for my liking, and it did not help that I had to be outside for these past 3 weeks, almost like the entirety of February. Okay, this last week of February, I can finally just fucking rest and just like relax for a little bit. I feel like after all of that socialization and being outside, I can finally just relax and settle down for a little bit. And I like to think of myself as someone who is pretty extroverted, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I'm definitely more of a homebody, definitely more introverted. But I'm super grateful for all of the outings that I've been on these past few weeks. I feel like that's the most stacked my social calendar has ever been in my entire life. And I've always dreamed of having a very stacked social calendar. I just didn't know it was going to be that tough, let alone that cold, if you will, because I always thought my social calendar would be like a little bit more stacked in the spring and the summer, but I'm grateful regardless. It's just been way too fucking cold. Like, this past weekend, I celebrated my best friend and my roommate Darius's 21st birthday. Oh my god. Like, 21st birthday in the fucking cold is absolutely insane. Like, I really wanted to stay for the entire time because obviously, like, it's somebody's birthday. You know, I want to make sure that I'm there for them. But one, I was really tired. Like, girl, it was a Friday. I just came back from work. And two, it was freezing. Like, oh my god. Like, okay, so we went to Lebain, and I don't know if y'all know Lebain, but it is a club sort of by Tribeca, Chelsea area, if you will. And objectively, I feel like it's a pretty cool club. It's in a nice area. I feel like they play good music. They have coat check. Like, that's cool. And it has a really nice view too. Like, it has a nice view of the New York City skyline. My thing is like, I wasn't drunk enough and it was way too fucking cold that I was like, I need to get out. And usually I like to stay until the end, but I just couldn't. I had to go back because it was way too fucking cold for that shit. So all of that to say, I'm ready to relax. Okay, I'm ready to relax, guys. It's been fucking crazy because I actually, aside from having a stacked social calendar, I also haven't been getting a lot of sleep, and I've been sick for an entire month, basically for an entire month. And as you can see, like as y'all can see and as y'all can hear, I'm still a little bit sick. So I'm recovering. Okay, I'm recovering from my bronchitis. I'm feeling a lot better, but you know, the flare up still comes in every now and then. Speaking of my life being a lot more stable, I have some good news to deliver. I finally got my period. Girl, I feel like my period was about like 2 to 3 weeks late. I'm like, oh, guys, like, prepare for the baby shower invitations. Like, somebody order a tray of meatballs. Like, really was about to text my man being like, babe, what is your shirt size so I can get you your Burberry button up? Like, bitch, I really thought that we were about to have a baby, which is absolutely insane because I feel like as much as I want to be a mother, truly cannot have kids right now. Like, that is just, like, I don't even want to manifest that, speak that into the universe right now, because I feel like like I am not mother material right now. Okay, like I could definitely have a baby, be a cute little mom. Like I feel like I could definitely step up to the plate. I just don't want to put myself in that position. But truly, I thought I was pregnant for a hot minute. Luckily though, yesterday I got my period. Oh my god, hallelujah. Like I really was so thankful because I'm like, damn bitch, like it's about a month without my period. Like, should I be concerned? Like, but I truly think it was just like my change in my diet, lack of sleep, stress, and also just lack of rest that contributed to me not having my period for about like 2 to 3 weeks. And I feel like it really is my menstrual cycle that makes me realize how much stress I'm putting on my body, because my period could be very, very consistent for like a set of months. And if something changes in my life, then it affects my period so much. So I feel like as much as I hate my menstrual cycle, I also feel like it makes me reflect on how much stress I'm putting on myself, because stress really does have an impact on your hormones and how your period goes. Because, girl, trust and believe that if I have a hormonal imbalance, trust and believe that PMDD is just around the corner, bitch. Like, she's really just around the corner. But I really want to hear from y'all. Okay, so I want to really up the level of our podcast so that it's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more optimized for YouTube, and also just a little bit more like profesh, right? So I really like the sort of opening up my laptop, opening up the photo booth app and just recording, right? It's easy for me. It's convenient and it makes sure that I'm consistent. But I also want the physical and aesthetic interpretation of this podcast to be, you know, like representative of the kind of shit that I want to bring to the table. So let me know in the comments down below how you're enjoying the actual podcast. Like I know a bunch of people like to tune into my podcast. A lot of my friends like to, and it would really mean a lot if y'all just like texted me or even left a comment down below so that we can get engagement up. Like, let's get those metrics up, okay? So let me know how y'all are enjoying it, or even if like you have ideas for a podcast, or if you want to come on. Guys, I really want different people to come onto the podcast, because as much as I love yapping, hosting live sessions has made me realize how much of a difference it makes having somebody there to speak with. Because yes, I feel like I have a good enough presence to carry a conversation, but it's also different, and it's a different dynamic when you have somebody there with you to carry out the episode. And also, like, I can imagine sometimes y'all might be a little bit tired of me yapping anyway, but regardless, my life is balanced again, and I feel like this is just the calm before the storm, because astrologically, March is gonna be fucking crazy, okay? I think Venus is gonna go in retrograde or some shit. I think we might even have a Mercury retrograde. It's gonna be fucking crazy. But at the same time, I feel like I'm ready for the chaos. It's gonna come, and I know it, but I feel like this time around, like, I'm ready to fight back, okay? I'm ready to fight back, okay? Because, bitch, I'm just too old and too young simultaneously for life to be just lifing me this hard. You know what I mean? And I feel like I really came to that conclusion while I was in the salon. So for anybody who is tuning into the podcast on Spotify, I have a little perm going for myself. I just went to the bathroom, so I know that we have hot water again. Like, I was about to call 311, bitch. Like, oh, guys, don't even get me started with this apartment. Okay, it's not bad, but like sometimes they literally shut off the hot water without telling us, and I'm like, oh. And I'll actually get into that later in the podcast because low-key, I feel like I've been a little bit disillusioned with living in New York. But aside from that, getting back to the salon, if y'all can't tell, I just recently got my hair permed. Okay, I got a wavy perm. I've been meaning to get a perm for a while, so if y'all know me, I'm like, my hair is very, very straight. I feel like some people don't realize that my hair is very straight because I always have it styled or in like some sort of manipulation, like, you know, curled, blow dried, the ends are bumped, whatever the case may be. But my hair is very, very straight and I really like it. Like, I really like it. So I went to Nonstop Salon over on 33rd Street, so in Koreatown. They have a couple of other locations throughout the city. I just got that one done there because it was closest to me. So I like it. I do have some issues with certain portions. Like this portion right here, I had to put a lot of gel in it. As you can see, it looks a little bit crusty, but it is a little bit limp. It's not bad. I just wish that it had more of a wave pattern to it. I also have a little bit of an issue with the length. It's not like, oh my god, I wish I got my money back, but I do wish that I didn't have to cut off so much. He said about 3 to 4 inches and I was ready to cut like maybe 2 at most. But I understand. So I know a little thing or two about perms, but I didn't do a whole bunch of research, right? So I know that when you perm your hair, you can't bleach or dye it beforehand, right? But I thought that you could at least wait a few years before perming your hair, right? Because the ends of my hair, I don't know if y'all ever paid attention, but the ends of my hair were brown because prior to that, I had ginger brown hair. And I just grew out my roots. So at the ends, I had brown hair because that was still the hair left over from 2023. So at that time, it had been like 2 years since I last, really dyed my hair and processed it that much because the rest of this is all just virgin hair. So I wasn't really ready to let it go because I liked the length so much. But he ended up cutting it off and I'm a little bit sad because I did not want it to be this short, but it's fine because I feel like I was ready to let go of that part of my life. I'm a very spiritual person, if y'all can't tell, so I feel like things are connected even if you feel like they aren't. And I feel like hair is so like deeply connected to different chapters of your life, which is why certain colors of my hair are very, very triggering, like ginger. Life was so fucking different when my hair was ginger, guys. Like that was a time in my life that truly traumatizes me still to this day. It was an era of my life, but like, I just don't think I would go back to ginger for a while, or if I did go back to ginger, I would just do it completely differently. When I had ginger hair, I feel like I was just coming out of a time in my life that was like so fucking crazy. And I decided to change up my hair, and like ginger hair is a lot to maintain. It's very financially expensive, and as somebody who has naturally black hair, like every single time my roots would come in, it was very, very obvious. So I would have to redo the roots, and then sometimes the roots would be brighter than my ends and I would have 3 different colors of orange. Like it was just way too fucking much. So I'm glad that I'm getting back to my black hair because I feel like black or a dark cool tone brown just really suits me best. Eventually I do want to try like a lighter color. I do want to try maybe a blonde, if you will, but I feel like I'm really enjoying my dark natural hair because honestly it just suits me the best. In my opinion, it really does suit me the best, and I like this shorter cut. I feel like it's really nice for the spring and the summer anyway, and I do definitely want to grow out my hair so it's more of my natural hair as opposed to having like black hair and then brown ends, because low-key it did bother me to have brown ends, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. But definitely glad to just be done with that part of my life because I feel like I've just grown so much since I last had brown or ginger hair. So the reason why I bring up my perm, aside from like really trying to bring attention to my new hair, is because I feel like I came to a really good and very, I don't know, I guess thought-provoking revelation while I was in the chair. So I was actually in a huge rush to get to my appointment because I did not want to be late. When I got to my appointment, or like when I was on the train, I realized that I didn't bring my book. I couldn't really wear headphones. So for a good portion of the actual appointment, I was really just there with my own thoughts. And I feel like I haven't been able to do that for a while because obviously like I work in social media, so I'm always on a phone, I'm always connected to something. And as somebody who's a huge fan of social media, like recreationally, I feel like I'm always just moving from one thing to the next, and I'm really trying to train myself more to just sit with a thought as opposed to finding the next dopamine hit, because that's basically what TikTok is, right? Like I love social media, but I also recognize that there are some very addictive aspects of it, and I really liked that I was just able to sit in the chair and be present and sit with my thoughts. And it was in that time that I was sitting in the chair where I realized, like, damn, I've really come very far. And as somebody who's a very ambitious person, I always try to think of like, oh, how can I get to my goals? Or like, I'm not where I want to be just yet. I want to achieve big things. And to be an ambitious person, I think is a great thing, obviously, because it means that I get to the money, okay? I get to the money, basically. But I feel like also being an ambitious person all the time sometimes prevents you from being in the present and being grateful. Like, I look back on my early 20s and I feel like I cringe so much. And I feel like it's just riddled with negativity. And there is a level of truth to that. I feel like a good portion of my 20s, from like 20 to 23, it was a lot. But I feel like I neglected to be grateful. And I feel like, which is so weird, because I was literally just sitting in a fucking salon chair being like fucking grateful for my life and shit. And I had like rollers in my hair that were pulling at my hairline. But basically, I feel like I learned how to be grateful, which I think is so interesting because it's been hard for me to do that. It's really been hard for me to do that these past few months because my life has been changing so much, and I feel like so much is coming at me from all different angles, and I feel like life has been coming at me and I've been acting like a victim this entire time. You know what I mean? And to an extent, yes, life does come at you, but you're also a baddie. You know what I mean? You're also a baddie. And like, life is going to do whatever the fuck it wants to do. And you have to be strong enough in your own self to be able to endure or even withstand certain things that come in your life that are just simply unexpected. And I feel like from 20 to 23, life was truly just happening to me, or I let life happen to me. And now from 24 onward, I really want to have me happen to my life. You know what I mean? Like, be less of a victim and more of an active person in my life who has more of an active role of how things play out, like how I want to view certain things, how I want to have a more positive outlook on things. Because in that chair, what I realized was last year I couldn't even have the funds to get a perm. Like, I couldn't even set money aside and be like, oh, I can just get like a $600 perm. Like, it was actually about $400, but with the tip it was a little bit extra because there were two people who worked on me, and I like to tip people pretty well. So, because I don't know, I feel like I have an abundance mindset. Like, bitch, I talked about this in my last podcast, but like, some of y'all are too comfortable with admitting that you're a little bit broke, okay? Like, bitch, you gotta go through life with an abundance mindset, okay? Being broke is a mindset, okay? When you wake up, you gotta open up Google Maps, type in money so that you can go to where the money resides, bitch. Like, some of y'all really are just way too comfortable admitting that you're broke online, bitch. Like, come on. Like, What happened to being wealthy is a mindset, okay? Because it truly is a mindset. And for me personally, I feel like, I don't know, when you're, and maybe this is like the former Catholic in me, but like when you're generous to other people, I feel like it just comes back to you tenfold. And I'm not saying that I'm generous to other people so that it benefits me, but like I'm just generous to people. I feel like that's just a part of my heart that I can't really let go of, you know? I admit that sometimes I can be selfish, but like I do for the most part try to be very generous and very kind. Getting back to my point, I really realized that, like, damn, I couldn't even set aside money last year to get a perm. And now I'm 24, I have a credit card, and I'm comfortable with doing shit like this. Like, I can put down my credit card and be comfortable knowing the fact that it's not going to decline because I can comfortably pay off my comfortably pay off my credit card bill, I guess. Like, a lot of things have changed since then, and in that chair, I feel like I realized I might not be where I want to be just yet, but I'm a lot closer to where I want to be right now than where I was last year. So being grateful for where I am presently and understanding that there is also beauty in the journey. There's also beauty in the journey, guys. Like, what the fuck? Truly, I feel like it was such an interesting revelation to come to because out of all places you would think like, oh, maybe you would be grateful in church. You may be like grateful at a cute little monument. I just was grateful at a fucking salon. So gratitude can find you anywhere, okay? You just gotta allow it to come in. And maybe that's why I got my period. Maybe like I just needed to be grateful for life so that the world could remind me that I'm not pregnant. Like bitch, I'm actually pretty happy in spite of the fact that like I have cramps right now. But I feel like that's a really big talking point that I wanted to talk about in this podcast. Another thing that I'm super grateful for, we just got our hot water. Oh, I really want to wash my hair so that I can just do my full little routine, do a little deep conditioning treatment, because I have been experimenting with styling my hair because wavy hair, it's like, it's different. I do know how to work with different hair types because I've done my research, but like I've personally never had to deal with wavy hair before. So doing like the scrunchie method and using gel and using water and different styling tools, it's definitely a bit of an adjustment, but I'm super excited. Like, guys, it's gonna look so cute. I'm super excited to document like the whole vacation preparation because my PTO was just approved. Okay, just approved. Like, life truly is worth living. Like, the weather is good, life is good, I just got my period. Like, so much to be grateful for, guys. So much to be grateful for. I get paid on Friday. We're gonna have a seafood boil. Like, guys, this is what happens when you see positive things in life. Like, yeah, as you can tell, I'm in a pretty good mood. But other things I wanted to talk about. So I talked briefly about being disillusioned with New York, just to like kind of take a hard left, like a hard ass fucking left. So I'm prepping to make another transition in my life, right? I haven't really found a place yet where like, and maybe it's not here, maybe it might be with my man, I don't really know. I feel like true home will come to me when I have more of a set idea of where I want to settle down for a little bit. I really want to move in with my man very soon, but I think right now I'm focused on getting the bag up and maybe just experiencing a little bit more of like my adulthood with a full-time job and whatnot. So I am planning to make another move. Wish me luck. But I think I'm concerned because I have things that I need to pay off, like my student loans. And the big dilemma for me is, do I go back home or do I continue to live on my own? A huge part of me does want to move back home because, you know, obviously it's a lot more convenient financially and I don't have to worry about rent or the cost of living. I think for me though, sometimes when I go back home, I feel like I've grown so much to the point where like living at home is just it's like whiplash, you know? Every single time I go home, I feel like, the reason why I bring this up is because I was just talking to my sister about it on FaceTime, but like, I go back home and it doesn't really feel like home. Like, obviously it is familiar to me, but I feel like it's not home for me, and I don't really know where that is just yet. Even though my apartment technically is my home, I don't feel like it's my home, and I feel like my hometown is not really my home either, because I haven't lived there since 2022. So it's been a hot minute. And I feel like if I were to move back home, it would just be a really big transition, and financially, yes, it would be a lot better, but I also feel like it's a big independence adjustment that I don't know if I'm ready for. On the other hand, moving is very expensive, and there are a lot of things that I really want to save up for, like my vacation that I really want to go on, living with my man, which is also another thing that I have to save up for. And the cost of living just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And yes, I can budget as much as I want, but also like the cost of living is insane. I think they're raising the MTA fare by $3. And like sometimes when I really think about the life that I'm living here in New York, it's like, damn, I live in a shoebox. It's hella loud where I live, as y'all can tell. Sometimes I walk in the subway station and like, this is really what we're paying $2.90 for. I'm like, damn, I really pay this much to live here, and this is like my quality of life. All because I really want to live in the city. Like, it sort of sucks when a city that you love so much that just does not meet your expectations. Like, yes, I am a New York girly, but it's just like sometimes it is kind of hard to see the beauty in New York when I feel like you live with shit like this, you know what I mean? It's just like right on cue. That does not mean that I don't love New York, and I think it's a very beautiful place to live, and there's so much beauty and so much culture and so much to appreciate about living here. But there's also a lot of downsides to living here too, and a part of me is a little bit sad because it's always been a dream of mine ever since I was a kid to live here in the city. And I just don't know if I'm at a point in my life anymore where living in the city makes sense, because I work in a whole other place. And again, I don't know if I would be in that job for forever, but as I'm getting older, like, I want more space. I want more work-life balance. I want to live in a place that, like, I feel proud of, and I don't have to pay exorbitant amounts of money for an apartment that I don't feel really matches the rent that I'm paying. You know what I mean? It's a little bit tricky. I feel like it's a little bit tricky because a huge part of me isn't ready to give up on ADELLE in the Big Apple. Nobody ever calls it that. Like, bitch, nobody ever calls it that. But like ADELLE in New York City. And maybe that dream will come to me a little bit later because I have a lot of Saturn in my charts, okay, in my first house. And like, Saturn is all about putting in the work now so that you can reap the rewards later. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like a huge part of me, though, just really wants to live in a walkable city. Like, I just want to be able to walk to a coffee shop. Like, can I walk to the grocery store? Can I walk to somewhere where we can hang out? Like, can I walk to a restaurant? That's a huge thing. Like, that's also a really big thing for me here in the city, is like a lot of things are very convenient and very accessible. And that is one of my concerns, is if I move back home, or even if I move to a more suburban part of New York, like, how am I gonna get around? It's a bit of a dilemma. So if you are going through the same thing, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear people's thoughts. Like, I really want to make sure that I'm giving y'all some entertaining shit and not just like talking out of my ass. So please do let me know how y'all like the episode. If you wish there were more improvements to it, because for the most part, I kind of just talk out of my ass. Like, I come up with topics sort of on the fly. I know there should probably be more structure, but right now I feel like my focus is just consistency. even though it might not be on the same day each and every week, it's an episode every week nonetheless. Okay, it's an episode every week nonetheless, and I'm really trying to keep my streak since January started. Okay, so right now we're working on consistency. I feel like I'm ready to transition into more structure and to more aesthetically pleasing things, so please let me know. But yeah, I feel like today's episode is going to be a little bit short. Let's get into the Yap Eat Repeat portion of today's podcast. So what have I been yapping about? Something I've been yapping about, what's been on my mind lately? Okay, one other thing that I really wanted to talk about, which I guess I'll just do for the yap section of this podcast, is how much I love makeup. I actually feel like I forgot how much I loved makeup because I've always sort of procrastinated on how I wanted to do my content because I didn't want to be put in a box of, oh, Adele is a makeup creator. Like, with my content, I want my content to transcend my love for makeup, but I also really do love makeup, and I feel like that is what got me interested in this space to begin with. Had it not been for my interest in makeup and my interest in the online makeup community, I don't think I would have ever been interested in a career in social media. So, like, big kudos to the makeup community. But I feel like this past weekend, and even these past few weeks, like, just putting on my face all the time made me realize how much I love makeup and how much I love like the ceremonial act of it, and also doing other people's makeup as well. I'm like, damn, maybe I gotta revive that shit, bitch, because like I used to do a whole bunch of makeup looks over in the pandemic, and I'm like, maybe I gotta get back to that. My type of makeup is a little bit different. I wouldn't say that I'm an artiste, if you will. Like, I don't like to do crazy makeup looks or very artistic makeup looks. I don't mind a cute little editorial moment every now and then, because I feel like editorial is very cunt. It's a very artistic expression of makeup and a concept. I don't mind an editorial moment. It's just not, I wouldn't say that it's like my focus. You know what I mean? All of that to say, I feel like I really want to get back into makeup. Aside from my podcast, I do want to do more long form content, so that could even include more makeup content. But I feel like I really want to get back into makeup, and I really want to return to that part of myself because it's so essential to who I am today and what I love so much about what I do. So I really want to get back into makeup, and I feel like I've been yapping about using makeup as a jumping off point for my content, specifically my short form content and even my long form content, because there are a lot of creators who have started out in the beauty space and are now known for something completely different. Like Jackie Aina. When you think of Jackie Aina now, she's very much a perfume connoisseur and entrepreneur, and really popular within the online space because of how outspoken she is about certain social issues. She's also like a lifestyle creator. So even though she did have a huge makeup root and makeup origin story, she is now known for something so different, which I feel like is very inspiring, because I always thought like, oh, if I start with makeup, I feel like it might be hard for me to transition. Another example is Desi Perkins. Desi Perkins is really one of my favorite creators and one of the OG creators that I used to watch religiously on YouTube. And now, like, she barely does makeup. Now I feel like I know her a lot more for her sunglass brand, which is really going off on TikTok, and it's absolutely insane to see her growth, because I remember back in 2020 when she first launched Desi Eyewear after doing her whole collaboration with Key, I think it is, like Key, Quay, Key sunglasses. She finally started her own brand in 2020, and now it's popping off everywhere. Like, everybody loves the Monet x Desi sunglasses and things like that. So it's really been interesting to see her growth, and I feel like she's also a great example of how you can start off with makeup and then transition into other business adventures and other adventures into your life. Because one thing that I feel like I neglected to tell y'all is I actually am in a journalism certification right now. I just have to actually like complete the modules, but I am enrolled in one because ultimately I want to transition into a career in journalism. Like, I do want to work in entertainment and be a correspondent and talk with celebrities and talk with people. Like, that is a huge goal of mine, and I don't really know what the steps would be like to go from makeup to entertainment. It's just gonna come. Okay, it's just, I just mark my words, guys. Mark my words. This is my manifestation. It's gonna come. I just know it is because in my heart of hearts, that is what I'm destined for. Like, I don't really know what else I would be destined for, but that is what I've been yapping about. My love for makeup and how I have kind of been avoiding it because my love for makeup and my avoidance of makeup because I don't want to be pigeonholed into something. But regardless, I feel like it's just fucking makeup, girl. Like, come on. Like, you know you love it and you know that you like to do it. So, like, just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. What has been on repeat? Okay. So, one of the podcasts that I really like to tune into is the Zach Sang Show. I feel like I don't know if he's a journalist. I know he's like a radio host. I would say that, like, to an extent he is a journalist, but I've always been really interested in the way that he asks questions and the research that he does. And just recently he interviewed JoJo, and a song that I've been listening to on repeat lately is Too Little Too Late. Guys, there's so much nostalgia for me attached to that song because that was one of the first music videos that I saw on my dad's iPod. Like, not the iPod Nano, but like the bigger one. It was black, and then he hooked it up to the speaker. Like, guys, I've been around for a while, okay? Like, that has a lot of nostalgia for me. So I do love Too Little Too Late. That has been on repeat for me. What have I been eating lately? I've been eating down my home-cooked meals, guys, okay? Like, I wouldn't say that I've been perfect, okay? I have been ordering out a little bit, okay? Don't judge me too much. But I have been ordering out a little bit. However, I have been cooking at home a lot more. Just recently, me and my man yesterday, we made a pepper steak. It actually turned out to be more of like a pepper steak stew, which is fine. I feel like the meat was definitely a little bit tough, but ultimately like a learning experience, and I had so much fun just being with my man yesterday. And the week before that, I did a chicken teriyaki, which was really, really good. I feel like this time around when I made it again, it was a little bit soupy. And I completely forgot that you can just add cornstarch to things to thicken it up. So I wish that I added cornstarch to it. It's okay. That just means that I can make it again and make it perfect. This time it's good. Like, I feel like I have a pretty good instinct when it comes to cooking. Like, I looked at that pepper steak recipe and barely had to follow the instructions. Maybe I should have followed the instructions a little bit more because it ended up being a little bit tough and it ended up being a little bit more like a stew, but it is okay because I feel like I just have a good instinct when it comes to cooking. Like, I don't need a whole bunch of instruction because I feel like I just get cooking, and I feel like I enjoy the process of cooking. I love doing like food prep. Chopping up garlic and chopping up onion truly is one of my favorite things to prep because it's very like, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm in fucking Gordon Ramsay's kitchen or whatever, just without all the stress and the anxiety. But that is it for today's episode. I feel like next time I definitely want to come in with a little bit more structure because I have been meaning to touch on other topics aside from what's been top of mind for ADELLE. But of course, please do let me know in the comments down below how y'all have been liking it, what you want me to talk about, and even what you think I could do better. Like, just be nice about it, guys, because like sometimes I do get a little bit hurt, but please be nice. Like, of course, give me my constructive criticism in the comments down below, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. I'll see y'all next week. Bye, everyone.